Okay, let's look at the next part now. It says add code to dogtest.java to print the average breed weight for both Labrador and Yorkshire using the average breed weight method. What error do you encounter and why? So let's see. I'm just copying this method from here that we need to call. And yeah, so let's look at how this average breed weight method looks like. It's not defined for the class dog. It's defined for the class Labrador here. So it returns breed weight. It returns an integer. So we should act according to that. So you can write new lines, or what I can do is I can add its breed weight here, or better to add a new line after this. Let me say y dog dot get name has a breed weight breed weight of what was that function name? Average breed weight. Okay, so yeah, getting this here done, and yeah, looks correct. And let's do the same thing for our last object for Labrador. So I'll say ldog dot get name has a breed weight ldog dot average breed weight, right? And let's now try to compile this. Mm, Get an error. It says cannot find symbol for ydog.getName. It says I'm unable to find the method average breed weight for the variable ydog of type Yorkshire. It's saying Yorkshire doesn't have a method called average breed weight. You see, Yorkshire, okay, it had a method called speak, but Yorkshire also didn't had a method called get name. But even then it was working for Yorkshire. But the same thing is not happening with Yorkshire's average breed weight. So yeah, I'll reiterate. What I'm saying is there are certain methods which are not defined in Yorkshire. There are certain methods which are defined in Yorkshire. So speak was defined in Yorkshire, as you can see. So Yorkshire only has one method, which is speak. So you were able to call ydog.speak. It was not giving any problem. Now this get name method and this average breed weight method, both of them are missing for the Yorkshire class. But we didn't get any error for the get name method, but we are getting one for the average breed weight method. So you have to be careful why it's happening so. So if you talk about the get name method, it is inheriting that from the dog class. Your dog class, which is the base class, it has get name method. So your Yorkshire gets one from here, which is inherited, but your dog class, it doesn't have any method called average breed weight. So Yorkshire cannot inherit it. So if I could just write it here. So we have a dog class, and then we have a Labrador class and your Yorkshire class, which are inheriting this class. Now your dog class has a function called getName. GetName, Labrador can also use and Yorkshire can also use because this they are inheriting it from the dog class. But if you talk about speak function, dog class also has it. So they are inheriting it, but they have also defined one for themselves. So whenever you call this speak method, if you call it for Yorkshire, this one will be called. For Labrador, this one will be called, and so on. If you talk about the what it was, average weight of breed method, something like that, average breed weight method, that is defined for the Labrador, that's not defined for Yorkshire, and that's not there in the dog class. So since this method is not there in the dog class, Yorkshire cannot access it because there's no method, right? Nothing is inherited. Yorkshire cannot inherit it from its sibling. You can only inherit the method from your parent class or the base class. So the solution to this is you need to add this function to the Yorkshire class. So let's say, what does the question say? Let's see. Okay, it says fix this issue by adding the required code to the Yorkshire class. So let's do that. All you have to do is, we already have this code written over here. You need to put the same code in the Yorkshire class. So I'll just go here, put this code, and now your Yorkshire class has average breed weight method. Now what happens? It says cannot find symbol, return breed weight. So something else is also missing. So we also need an attribute breed weight to return it. So if you look at the Labrador class, there is this attribute breed weight defined. So you need to define this breed weight for your Yorkshire also. So not just the function, you should also have the same data member, because it is again not there in the dog class. Dog class doesn't have something called breed weight. So you need to add it here. And let me make it 65. So now it seems to be working perfectly. Okay. Hmm. Let's look at the last one. Now it says in the Labrador and Yorkshire classes, identify the method that overrides a method from the dog class. We have already done that, right? Write down the names of these overridden methods. There was only one overridden method, which was speak. We have already seen that. So it now says modify the speak method in both Labrador and Yorkshire classes to include the dog's name in the output. So when you call the speak method, it should return something like Spike says woof and Spike says woof. So this thing, it's not Spike in all the case. So it depends on the dog's name. Basically, you should have the dog's name and then you should have what it says. So that's the functionality we want. And you have to modify the speak method for this purpose. So let's look at how the speak method looks like. So right now your speak method just says woof. So you don't want to say woof, you want to put in the name of the dog here and then you need to put in says woof, right? So yeah, we need the dog's name. So what can we do? We simply have an attribute called name, right? Why don't you use that directly here? So I'll just say return name plus says woof, right? So what it will do, I'm concatenating these strings here and that's what I'm returning. Name plus says woof, that's all. And I'll do the same thing here. Name plus says woof. I actually do not need any method here. I can directly access name here because name is an inherited attribute. And let's remove the lines which we don't need. So we are no longer worried about the Yorkshire class and we are only worried about the function ydog.speak. So that's all I'm going to keep. And same thing over here. Only interested in ldog.speak. It should say the dog's name followed by says, followed by whatever is the sound. Let's check. It's working fine, but I should see a space here. So it says Tommy says woof, Bhishma says woof. That is correct. But yeah, you can put a space before says so that you see a space after your name. That's all. And run it. So we get the same output as required. Now, there is one catch here. Right now, this code is working, but let's make a small change here. And if you look at this attribute name in dog, let me make it private. Just like how we want the attributes to be there in every class, we want to keep them private. Do you think the same code will work now? We made a very small change. So this name, which was an inherited attribute in both your Labrador and the Yorkshire class, we made that public. And let's try to see if something goes wrong. I get an error here while running the code. It says class Yorkshire tried to access private field dog.name and there's a problem. So you should take this into account even when you are a subclass, right? Even if you are inheriting some attributes, you cannot directly use those attributes if they are private. So some people also say it like your private attributes, they are not inherited. So this is what we need to correct. Now the idea is you cannot directly use this name attribute in Labrador and Yorkshire because it is private. And what we do in those cases, we know that from outside a class you cannot access its data member which is private, so you need a function for that. Your function get name is public, so you can still use that function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the get name function. Get name function. I think that's all. We also don't need any super keyword here. And get name, that's all. And let's check. I should compile it first. Yeah, so now this works. So yes, that's all. So you can use get name here. So even if you use get name here, it will be called from your super class because these classes, Yorkshire and Labrador, they do not have their get name functions of their own. If they had their own get name functions and you wanted to still invoke the one from the super class, then you could have used super keyword. If you want, you can even use that now, but the point is there is no need for it. But if you do that, it will call the getName function from the super class. That's all it means. So you can also add a super here. It will make no change to your code. So yes, that's pretty much about first question.